expression opens with Kira engaged in meditation, the one where you keep chanting, "I once caught a fish this big." She's interrupted by a call from Oscar Carr, who believes he has evidence of the Cardassian prisonership that was lost years ago, the Ravenant. Because Kira's friend was on board, she wants to investigate. The reporter has known her long enough that always says it's good luck, even though the odds of finding any survivors is nil. Oh, get a room, you two. Cisco has bad news, though. The head of the Cardassian government has heard about this and wants to send someone to join in the effort. Kira's inclined to tell him to forget it, but Cisco points out that it would be a nice overture for the new government. Indiscretion is just a few episodes into Season 4, which had picked up where the adversary left off. There had been an overthrow on Cardassia, installing a civilian government rather than the military one that they had. The Klingons were convinced that this could only have been done by changeling agents, and so planned an invasion, terminating the Klingon Federation alliance. As you can imagine, the Klingons are winning big time. But that's not terribly important at the moment. What is that the fragile civilian government needs all the help it can get. That participating in a joint operation with Bajor is a sign of change. Kira reluctantly agrees for diplomatic reasons. And besides, she's been learning that not all Cardassians are bad. It's not like they're going to send you cod. Ah, Mr. Kira. See what happens when you cut your fish meditation short, Kira? The profits come in. You might be wondering why he's here to deal with that regime change. Well, the guy's got a good sense of self-preservation, so when he sensed the wind would change ball, he was that. So he not only was removed from power, he was in fact promoted to chief military advisor. Not exactly a good first impression for this new government. We wanted someone who would be familiar with Bajorans, so we sent someone who regularly killed them. This point is really beaten home as we hear the two discuss the occupation. See, the subject of the resistance, because that's who Kira is searching for, a number of resistance, makes the consequence of kind of a twisted self-congratulatory compliment. I know you find this hard to accept, but I believe that in some way the occupation has become natural, which the non-president has look back over Picard and see why he's dumb enough to actually say that. I'm not referring to the argument, I'll get to that in a second. I mean actually voicing it to a Bajoran freedom fighter. In defiance, he agreed to an extremely one-sided deal for information to be used against political enemies. Before that, he was trying to preserve peace in the DMZ to help them rise again. And in the beginning, he left DS9 because the Bajoran occupation had ended, and the implication was that it was due to his failure. It points to two predominant characteristics of Dukat: ambition and ego. He wants to have power, that's a given, and we'll see more of that as this review goes on. As for ego, well, he sought validation from Cisco, and now is doing the same from Kira. I think it's because he wants to believe that everything he did was right. He wants to believe that despite the massacres and the strip mining, he did right, and he's looking for any reason to justify it, and he wants them to agree. Now, I may be opinionated, but I always try to be fair, so let's give the straw man his day. Is Bajor stronger after the occupation? Possibly, yes. They're united, they're stronger. That doesn't mean they have to cut and thank for it. As Kira said, whatever happened was in spite of and not because of the Cardassians. Because all the Cardassians were an enemy. And it misses the other half of that, which is that Cisco, the guy Dukat wants to approve of him and the one the Bajorans look up to, has gone a long way towards ensuring that the Bajorans remain united and strong after the occupation ended. That which does not kill me does not make me stronger. I make me stronger when I refuse to let it kill me. Meanwhile, in the B-plot is the issue of romance, because Cisco's dick is an important enough character to occasionally need its own episode. He's been seeing Kathy Yates, a freighter captain, but who's coming with big news that she's been offered a job for the Bajorans, so she can stay on the station rather than maintaining their long-distance relationship. Wow, sounds like a big step. At dinner, she reveals that she did get the job and is thinking about staying on the station full-time. She asks Cisco what he thinks. Big step. Uh-oh. I think that big step might have just been into a pile of dog crap. Miss Jones.
Forget about the job.
Oh, yeah, that's always a sign. Let's cut to a less volatile situation. And that's the first time anyone's ever described Kira and Ducat that way. The presence of Roscoe doesn't help.
She's so compassionate, so understanding. Almost makes you forget that 5 years ago he was working the drawer to death in forced labor camps, and she came in there and tried to stop him. Almost, and she forgot.
But he is handy with the tricord, confirming that this is indeed from the ship they're looking for, and Roscoe tells them where to look for it. Naturally, the planet has flat radiation that'll prevent beaming, so they have to land and head towards the remnants on foot. And unfortunately, go the long way around, as it's completely covered by sand, wiped clean by the Walton dog. Meanwhile, back at the station, even more dire matters being considered.
It's a big step. That's all we said.
Quark steps into office this advice.
If she says she doesn't see you more, crack a mystery in the heart. If she wants more ears, take back the ones you already have. Not enough control.
What's creepy is that while I was getting some background information about this episode, completely unrelated to what Quark said, I ran across a blog about this from the opposite gender that was essentially the same idea as Quark had, how to establish control over command with these kinds of weird head games. You know, I continue to remain amused when people unwittingly advance Ferengi ideals in different forms, and it shows just how much of it is still in us. Left, right, center, male, female, doesn't matter. Kira and Ducat start checking the wreckage, discovering evidence of weapons fire and numerous graves, but no signs of the survivors. They need to check the remains, but Ducat doesn't want Kira involved since it would desecrate the Cardassian dead if they were viewed by an alien, which doesn't apply in reverse because of the Bajoran religion.
How does time rest?
What remains after death of Shell? Sun, time, of its final travel. At first you might think, wow, Ducat seems to have at least a passing interest in Bajoran spirituality. Maybe it's not so bad after all. But then you might recall what Sisko said about how Cardassians spend their childhood disciplining their minds so they can have perfect recall. So, for instance, a man who regularly orders mass murders might at some time hear a useful proverb about the dead from the Bajoran clergy to justify how they might dispose of the hundreds of bodies. As Shakespeare wrote, the devil can cite scripture for his purpose. An evil soul producing holy witness is like a villain with a smiling cheek, a goodly apple rotten at the heart.